Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. It's not even 6 a.m. here in Cyprus. Yes, it's Wednesday, about 5 to 6 in the morning. I've not been awake half an hour, so you can fucking tell, right? But I thought, let's get in today's dceu daily early so we can upload it and maybe do a few more extra videos and see what we've got to talk about, because there's a lot to talk about today. I mean, there's DC stuff. There's obviously the Taika Waititi stuff where he's kind of dropped Warner Brothers, who's Akira in the shit, and gone over to do 4 as well. So I want to talk about that later. I want to talk about the Emmy Award nominations, maybe do a video about that. But right here, it's all about the dceu. And basically, we have an article about the release, the Snyder Cut billboard. So I thought we could read it. It's IndieWire. Now, IndieWire is a pretty prominent site. So it's great. And I think Screen Rant have done one, but I decided to go with IndieWire. So, as promised, billboards and advertisements touting the Snyder Cut of Justice League have descended upon San Diego Times to Comic-Con 2019. Via Screen Rant, it is via Screen Rant. Last month, Snyder fans crowdfunded online to raise the funds necessary to rent billboards and create advertisements at the near Comic-Con, urging Warner Brothers to release the Snyder Cut. The cut refers to Snyder's original version of the 2017 superhero film Justice League. Snyder left the DC Extended Universe film after a family tragedy, and the film was completed by Joss Whedon, who drastically overhauled the film to include a lighter tone and more jokes. People always say to me, why do they put all the histrionics in? I think it's important because we want to get the support of people who don't know about this. So you've got to put the history there, and people say, hang on a minute, this guy lost his daughter. And then they promised him that they were just going to finish off his movie, and then they changed it to fuck. So that's a very important fact. The Release the Snyder Cut campaign raised over $20,000, a portion of which was donated to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. In the wake of Snyder's family tragedy, as seen in the photos circulating on social media below the rest of the funds, were used to create advertisements pushing for the Snyder Cut release. The ads tout Snyder's 3.5-hour Justice League cut and lean into the appearance of Darkseid, the comic book villain that was removed in Whedon's cut of the film. Some of the ads appear directly across from Hall H, the biggest presentation room at Comic-Con. So basically, if you're a Marvel fan, this is interesting. You will see this. Now, you're either going to laugh or you're going to actually say, well, this is interesting. So I think that's a very good place to put one of the ads. Ironically, Warner Brothers has opted not to go to Comic-Con this year. The studio has several high-profile superhero movies lined up for the future, including this fall's Joker with Joaquin Phoenix and next summer's tentpole Wonder Woman 1984, which reunites director Patty Jenkins and star Gal Gadot. Warner Brothers dazzled CinemaCon with Joker footage in April, but won't promote the film at Comic-Con. The only major Warner Brothers release heading to the event is Chapter 2, which will show off footage at the Offset Scare Diego sidebar. Basically, Joker movie doesn't need to be at San Diego Comic-Con anyway. It can go to other conventions. It's going to the Venice Film Festival. This is the way they want to push the film. So that's not the end of the world. As for Wonder Woman 1984, I think they had a panel for that last year anyway. I mean, you'd think they might want a panel there this year just to get the buzz up. But hey, I mean, obviously the question has to be asked, why have they not got Hall H this year, Warner Brothers? Why are they not there? Why haven't they got a huge presence there? And don't forget, if from the moment that Warner Bros. Announced they weren't going to be there, Feige and Marvel decided they were going to be there. Because originally, I don't think that was the plan. And these are the type of people you're dealing with. Snyder fans have been relentless over the last 2 years in the pursuit for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Mostly recently, fans used social media after Warner Bros. Announced Ann Sarnoff as its new chairman and chief executive officer to urge her to make the Snyder Cut public. While the fate of the Snyder Cut remains unknown, the dceu will continue with Wonder Woman 1984 and sequels to Aquaman and Shazam. Oh, and don't forget Birds of Prey next year as well, my friend. So basically, that's the article. It just shows you tweets and pictures of the billboards. So pretty awesome, really. A great article. And of course, this being talked about in IndieWire, in Screen Rant. Of course, Stephen Colbert has been a great friend to the Snyder Cut campaign because he wants the film. He wants to see the film too, and because I think he's a freelance writer who happens to write for Screen Rant. He has been very prominent, and I think it's like what Will Rowland's one of the members of Project Comic Con, right? Someone was saying, "Why are you doing this? It's never going to happen. It's not realistic. Why don't you fight for something that matters?" So Will says something great to me. He goes, "Well, donating money to depression and suicide isn't a good cause." And that's the thing. There's a lot of haters out there. There's always going to be a lot of haters out there. Personally, I don't respond. I don't respond to trolls. I think it's futile. I think it's a waste of time. And everyone's got to do what they do. Everyone's got to wave the flag they want to wave at the end of the day. But what difference is any of this making right now? The truth, we are making noise. There's no question about that. But in terms of Warner Brothers changing their mind and coming out and making an announcement or releasing the cut, none of this has made an inch piece of difference. That's the reality of the situation. And after all this is over, and if Warner Brothers still say or do anything, because Comic-Con is a big place, it's a big marketing place these years. So what Project Comic-Con have done is extremely, really clever. But we have to wait and see if this makes a dent into Warner Brothers, if it makes them want to make an announcement. If it doesn't, we will have to think again. After the letter writing campaign to Ann Sarnoff, we have to say to ourselves, well, hang on a minute, this ain't fucking working. We've got to go a different direction here. We've got to start maybe petitioning and writing to high-profile filmmakers to at least make a quote in support of Zack Snyder and release the Snyder Cut. We've got to do something different because we can't keep on doing this if it's not going to work. We can keep on trying to knock the door down, but eventually the top of the sledgehammer will come off. So when you're fighting a big entity like this, you have to have many, many ideas. And we'll see. Of course, I'm extremely happy about Project Comic-Con and what they're doing at San Diego. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And let's see what happens there. There's not really any updates or any news. We know what's going on with Shazam. We know what's going on with Black Adam. I just really now want to hear something about Superman. That's what I want to hear. And we go on. I mean, even if you're not going to release the Snyder Cut, I think people will be just as happy to hear we're getting a Superman movie. But still, we go on in silence, Warner Brothers. And you are blaming Superman for the failure of Justice League, and that is wrong. And I've said this a billion times, we want to see a Superman film. Superman is the most important superhero. I'm sorry that he's a man, but he is a man. So at the end of the day, you need to work on a project if you're not. And if you are working on a project, it's time to announce it. Because you can't have a DC extended universe of films without Superman films. Now, Superman's been very prominent, don't get me wrong, in the DCEU. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, right? So it's not like he hasn't been around, but we want him back. We want to see him again. So Warner Brothers, please get on that.